Hi, Dr. Tan. I'm going from my paper. This is more of a light-hearted.
Light-hearted.
So, can you roughly tell us what you have been doing for the past few hours ever since you found out you were the president? Like, could you get to see what you have been breakfast? And also, how do you plan to celebrate with your family and even Singaporeans?
What I've been doing the last few hours? I've been sleeping. And how to celebrate? Well, we just had a very simple, any formal lunch with my family, my children and grandchildren, and I think they will have a quiet Sunday.
President MPV from stone.But. In this campaign, there have been a lot of discussions about what Singaporeans actually want out of this institution of the president. I know you have always emphasized that you are running for an office that exists, but can you comment on whether you see there's a need for the role of the president to evolve, probably not in the present term of office, but in subsequent term of office?
Well, the president, the office of the president must operate within the parameters of the constitution as it now stands. And until that is changed, the president has to work within those limits. However, the constitution is not set in stone. The constitution is a living document. Whatever changes to the constitution that has to be made will be determined by Parliament, which is the ultimate legislative authority in Singapore. If Parliament decides that there should be changes to the President's powers and authorities, then the President will have to abide by those changes if they are approved by Parliament.
Hi, Dr. Tan. My name is Ting Ying from Today Newspaper.
Okay.
I know there's only been maybe a few hours since the results were out, but I'd like to ask, will you consider appointing Dr. But to your Council of Presidential Advisors, maybe as a defiant move, given you have quite a close proportion of votes with you?
But is a very old friend of mine. We have been parliamentary colleagues now, I think over 25 years. I would expect that we'll have many more exchanges of views over the coming days. I welcome his inputs as to whether I should appoint him to the Council of President Advisors. Let me first point out that I'm not the president yet. I think that these are matters which can be taken up in due course.
My name is Kian Bei from the Straits Times.
Sorry.
I have two questions for you. First, last night it was like a roller coaster ride for many Singaporeans, and shortly after counting began, we heard news that you were trailing Dr. But by close margin. And we just want to ask you before the later on, you were leading and you were going to be elected. What went through your mind during that first period of counting, when you were trailing and possibly facing defeat? How prepared were you? And the second question I have is, now that you're elected, you have the stature, many Singaporeans regard you as a senior statesman and all those. But there are also criticisms about you in other aspects. Do you see areas that you need to improve, you might need to improve personally, like being more people-friendly or various stuff? Thanks.
Well, with regard to the events of last night, I think that the only result that matters is the final result. As the counting goes on, there will be ups and downs. I've always felt that one should wait until the final results are known before making any comments, and that's what I did last night. With regard to reaching out to people, as I said, I found this campaign extremely interesting. Now that I'm no longer a member of any party, I've been able to discuss with a wide range of Singaporeans across many sectors in many parts of Singapore what are their views, what are the concerns. I intend to continue to do this using various platforms. I think that this will be very useful because at the end of the day, what I'm doing is for the good of Singapore, and I care for Singaporeans. I care for Singapore. And one has to know what are the issues which worry Singaporeans. The only way to do that is to talk to them directly. I can always read reports, but it's not the same as meeting various groups with their particular interests, worries, and concerns. This takes time and effort, but I think it's well worth the investment, and that is what I intend to do.
Faris from Yahoo.
Hi, Dr. Tam. I have 2 questions. The first question is during your lunchtime rally, you say that you are uncertain of the chances. Did you expect it to come down to the wire this time round? And the second question is that now there's greater political development in the country, do you expect your role to be scrutinized in the sense that, will there be greater expectations from the electorate on your role now?
As I said, when I ran for the presidency, I did not know whether I will win, but I knew that I had to try because Singapore is our home, and it's something which I felt I had to do given my background and my experience. With regard to whether I had expected this to come down to the wire, again I said, I think the only important thing is the result, and that's known now, and I think we work from there. With regard to greater scrutiny of the President, I will try my best to be as effective as possible. The people of Singapore have great expectations of the President, and rightly so. And I think that this is something which I will try to do my best in the coming months and years to live up to the expectations of Singaporeans. As to whether I have met their expectations, I think we will know in 6 years' time.
Dr. Tam, just picking up from that, how do you hope to demystify the office of the President? One of the feedback that we received during the campaign is that some Singaporeans just are not quite aware about how the President exercises his custodial powers and also his independence. And some candidates have said that they want to come up with an annual report to tell Singaporeans about what the President has done. Do you hope to do something similar as well?
I think that the debate during this campaign on the role of the President, what are his powers, what he can do and what he should not do, I think has been helpful. The forum which IPS carried with Law Minister Shanmugam, Professor Tomiko and Professor Teo Lian has been helpful in clarifying some of these matters. It's an ongoing process. I think over time, like everything else in Singapore, the presidency is a work in progress. I'm sure it will change in time, depending on the needs of the country and on the needs of Singaporeans. The debate on the presidency will not stop here. I think that there will be more discussion. I think political commentators will discuss what is best for Singapore, and I think that's a good thing. It should be debated. I think with this we'll have greater clarity to find out what works best for Singapore.
So in terms of coming up with an annual report, that's not something that we would be considering?
Well, I'll keep Singaporeans informed, of course, of what I'm doing, and I think that I'm all in favor of letting Singaporeans know what the President is doing. With regard to an annual report, it's always difficult to put down in one statement everything you have done during a year. I think it's best to keep Singaporeans informed as to your activities and to your concerns as and when the occasion requires it.
All the questions so far we directed you, and you did speak quite passionately about your wife. Yeah. What role do you see for Mrs. Tan now as the President's wife?
I don't know whether my wife would like to answer that or not. But I know my wife Mary has always had a deep concern for people in need, particularly for the the older folks. I'm sure that she will be a great First Lady, and she will fulfill that position with grace and distinction and make a contribution to Singapore in her own right. But I still look forward to her support for me as I carry out my functions in the presidency.